Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to once again reiterate the parts of the flag so that when I'm explaining where to position your hands during an exercise and before and after a toss, there's no confusion throughout the video. This entire section here is the pull. This is the tab, top tape, bottom stopper. This is the silk, and this is the top stopper. This is what I'll use to refer to the different pieces of the flag throughout the entire video. The first thing I want to once again go over is drop spins. These haven't changed at all since my previous video, but I still would like to go over them as I'll be going over everything. For drop spins, you'll start with the flag flat at your hip bones. Your right hand will be under at the tab and your left hand will be over at the bottom stopper. Your left wrist will be absolutely straight. It shouldn't be bent, but should be in line with your forearm and elbow. Make sure you start boxed out, standing tall. On count 8 of your initiation, the flag will be brought straight up and down. Your left hand will be in front of your spin spot or belly button, and your right hand will be right above your forehead. This may vary slightly with body height and arm length. On count 8 you're going to let go of the stopper with your left hand. The flag will rotate slightly onto the angle and your right hand will move down in space to right in front of your forehead. Your left hand will be pressed flush with your leg. The next step is to keep the flag rotating while bringing it down until the tab is positioned right in front of your spin spot. It will stop straight up and down with the silk down. Your left hand will re-grab the pole slightly inside of the silk below the right hand. In order to properly grab the flag, you'll stick your left hand out, palm facing away from your center. Both hands' thumbs should always face the same direction. At this point, you'll let go with your right hand and continue to turn the flag in the same direction. You'll re-grab with the right hand under the left, thumbs facing the same direction. As you've probably already noted, anytime you re-grab the pole, your thumbs will be facing the same direction and you'll always re-grab under the other hand. Now at this particular step, you'll want to make sure to leave enough room for your left hand to re-grab later without grabbing inside the silk. Next, you'll once again keep turning the flag in the same direction until it's positioned the same as it had been on count 1. The only difference here is, of course, that the hands are completely out of the silk. At this point, you can continue drop spinning indefinitely until the exercise is complete. The last thing I want to go over before I move on to the next technique is how to close from a drop spin. This is something I did not explain the last time as I hadn't been introduced to this myself. All you're going to do to close on a drop spin is continue as if you're going to do one final drop spin up. Then you'll simply let go of the flag and stop it firmly by grabbing left hand in the silk and right hand either at the tab or tape, but stopping it straight up and down. Next on our list to learn is something called Peggy Spins. Peggy Spins are executed similarly to drop spins but are oriented for those with less wrist mobility. They initiate the same as a drop spin, however, on count 2, rather than grab both thumbs facing the same way, you'll grab money hand instead. On count 3, you'll then grab backhand so the thumbs grab facing the same direction. It may feel odd at first trying to grab this way doing Peggy Spins, but it eventually becomes more natural and fluid the more you practice. Moving on to the next thing, I'll again be going over flourishes. I don't want to spend a lot of time on these as they're not entirely difficult to learn. Setting up for a flourish, the flag will be set up on a shoulder-hip angle. Obviously, it is called shoulder-hip because the flag runs from the shoulder down to the opposing hip. The forearm here should be flat and parallel to the ground, with the elbow tucked into your side. On the initiation, the flag will be brought to flat, which is slightly different from how I explained it in a previous video. From here, you'll continue the motion of the flag while extending the arm out until the flag is straight up and down, like so. Then the motion continues until the pull is behind the head and the silk is extended up onto the angle. Now the silk will continue until it is behind the head and the entire flag is straight up and down. From here, all you simply do is pull the pole over your head while turning your wrist. Just to show what the motion looks like, you'll be bringing your hand over your head like so while simultaneously turning your wrist. This can now be repeated until the exercise is complete. Now we have cones. This is going to be a much briefer explanation of cones, so to get a better overall tutorial on these, see my other video for reference. To set up, we'll be starting at a shoulder-hip angle. The first thing we'll do is pass through a slightly pitched flat on the way up to the first position. From flat, the top stopper will be projected forward in a three-dimensional shape. The right arm is fully extended while the left hand is positioned in front of the spin spot, disconnected from the body and not actually making contact. Make sure the body stays upright and strong even though the flag itself is pitched. This is the shape from the side. Next, both arms will now cross until the left hand is by the right hip and the right hand is by the left temple. Your arms should be crossed and making a Z shape with the pole, and you should be looking through it like a window. This is what we call the window count. Then you'll continue to rotate the flag until both arms are fully extended and the silk is pitched on another three-dimensional shape behind you. Both shapes are accordingly named front and back present, as the flag is first presented to the front and then to the back. Notice the shape between the arms in the flag create a 90-degree right triangle at the back present. From here, both arms remain straight as they pass through flat on the way down to the down present. Once again, a 3D image. The arms must stay straight the entire time. All they're doing is switching positions. The last thing to do is to cross the arms again, left hand at right temple, right hand at left hip, and create another window count. Then the arms will simply uncross to return to the starting shoulder-hip angle. To explain briefly on the difference between augmented and smooth cones, augmented simply means you hit each position and hold, while smooth means you pass through each position without stopping. You can divide this up into 4 counts or 2 counts, meaning it takes 4 full counts to hit each position or 2 full counts to hit each position. The next thing to review is pull hits. Pull hits essentially are just very minuscule versions of pop tosses and function-wise are the same. They teach how to release both hands at the same time while also catching with both hands simultaneously and stopping all motion from the flag. You'll start with the pull straight up and down, right hand at the tab, left hand at bottom tape. The arms will then pull apart in a circular motion at the same time. Both must move simultaneously, one cannot move before the other. All you will simply do from here is release the flag and let it rotate fully one time before you'll catch both hands at the same time exactly where you initiated from. Now for pop tosses. Again, functioning the same as a pull hit, the only thing to change here is the height and power of the release. The left hand is going to pull the pole down and become flush with the side of the leg. The right hand is going to punch up in the same motion and at the exact same time as the left hand. This is the release point of the toss. From here, you let go of the toss and let it rotate fully twice before you catch it exactly in the same position as you began from. You can catch on any angle you want here, but for technique purposes, I'm going to catch the same way as I released. I did want to review the money hand toss, but my phone ran into some difficulties recording this portion of the video. If you'd like to learn how to achieve this toss, I reviewed it twice before in 2 separate videos. You can check it out there. Next, the J toss. Essentially the same as the money hand toss, however only utilizing one hand during the release. This does require upper arm strength as well as wrist mobility, as the wrist flicks the flag at the last moment to achieve more rotation. Now I want to go over the parallel toss. This will start flat with the pull behind the back. In the previous video, I started with the pull at an angle. However, this isn't efficient as it requires the flag to change planes on the way to the release, which is unnecessary. So, from flat, the flag will twist as you bring your hand up to just above your head until the pole is extended out in front of you like a unicorn horn. This is the release point. Don't be scared of the flag hitting you. If executed correctly, the pole clears your head before returning back down. It should not come into contact with your face at all. You'll catch 2 hands at the same time right at sternum level, right hand at tab, left hand at bottom tape. Next, this toss is another form of parallel toss that I like to call the pizza toss, as it reminds me of tossing pizza dough. Left hand will be positioned splitting the tapes, right hand will be at tab, and the pole itself will be resting on the shoulder. From here, you'll twist the flag up above your head and release. There shouldn't be too much rotation and you should catch in the same position as a parallel. The next toss I'll be going over is the strip toss. Last time I started this toss already at the stripped position. This time I'll be adding on the prep as well. You'll set this up on a shoulder-hip angle as you would for cones. From here, you'll take it up to the opposite angle and grab with the left hand at tab. Then you'll strip the silk all the way up. To make it clear, you do not want to grip the pole as you strip the silk. This can actually disconnect the pole and silk and also damage the silk as well. All you need to do is use the OK grip, which leaves enough space for the silk to be stripped without being pulled. Next, you're going to flip the pole up and grab money hand, a third of the way down the silk from the stopper. The toss from here is executed the same as a J toss. In this video, I chose to give the toss 1 rotation before catching at flat. Moving on, let's review the flag double. To start, the left hand will be over at top tape while the right hand will be under the silk, palm up a third into the silk. You'll do a small cone that finishes up on a shoulder hip angle. This will clear the hand of the silk and switch it to the other side. Now, pull down with the left hand as you would for a pop toss and let the pole swing. Then the right hand will push up just like for a pop toss to the release point. Because this toss actually releases first the left hand, then the right hand, it's going to make 2 whooshing sounds as you release. This will be caught at tab and bottom tape. Next is the cross toss. To set up, the right hand will be at the tab, thumb down facing bottom stopper, while the left hand will be money hand splitting the tapes and the pull will be straight up and down. All that happens from here is the flag twists all the way around until the silk is up again and the arms are crossed. This is the release point. The left hand will push down into the ground for rotation and the right hand will push up for height, again at the same time. The catch will be right hand at tab, left hand, bottom tape. Next, now we're going to review the 45 toss. Setting up, the right hand is going to be at the tab by the hip, left hand at bottom tape pitched forward in another 3D shape. Here's a side view. Now you'll come up through a slightly pitched flat as you would for a cone before continuing to move your hands at the same time until the left hand is behind your head where your ponytail would be and your right hand is directly above your head. The most important thing about this toss is the position of the hands, as this is what creates the 45-degree plane the flag will rotate on. If one hand is low or the other is high, it flattens out the angle and puts it on an incorrect plane. Here's the side view. This is the release point. The flag will rotate right above you, and if you completed everything correctly up to that point, it will clear your head before returning back down. You'll catch it to the side or end zone on the upper angle. Right hand at the tab, left hand at bottom tape. The last toss I will review is the one-handed 45 toss. It's essentially the same as a normal two-handed 45 toss, the only difference being that you'll start with the silk behind your back on a shoulder-hip angle and your right hand will be at top tape. The same motion of release is executed here as well, the top stopper coming down then all the way up to the release point pitched onto that 45-degree plane. My favorite word to associate with this toss is once again rainbow, as the top stopper follows this shape on its way to the release. The catch will still be off to the side and you can add as much power as you want to make it rotate further. For this tutorial, I chose to have it rotate only 1.5 times so I caught inside the silk. Awesome! This completes the flag portion of the tutorial. Now let's move on to rifle. Firstly, let's review spins. These are not actually called drop spins as I alluded to in the original video, as these are only on flag. To start off, the rifle will be at right flat, meaning right hand wrapped at the neck and left hand at the tip. The last time I did this video, I did explain that the thumb does start wrapped and that it becomes unwrapped on count 7 of the prep. This is true for the technique that I will be using in this video. However, there are several techniques out there. You can start wrapped and remain wrapped the entire time, or you can start pressed and remain pressed. It is based off of the technique your group uses. On count 8 of the prep, I'm going to push the gun straight up and down, elbow tucked, forearm parallel to the ground, left arm pressed to the side. On count 1, the rifle will have rolled over, the hand slightly disconnected, and you'll re-grab in the same place you started. If the rifle does stay connected to the hand, it will roll down and the weight will become unevenly distributed. Your thumb stays pressed against the back of the gun and your hand retains the taco shape I described in my last video. From here, simply continue the same motion until the exercise is done. To close on rifle, you'll simply continue as if you'll do another spin. However, you'll want to hold on slightly longer and throw the gun down into the other hand. The left hand will be between the bolt and clip, thumb pressed on the back of the gun. Right hand will be flush with the butt. This is left flat. From here, you could do left-handed spins as well. The only differences here being that you'll always start pressed for the prep. Your hand will actually move down the gun to the bolt on the first spin for a more even weight distribution. And the close will once again be at right flat. Flourishes on rifle are exactly the same as flag. I won't go into any more detail on them, but here's a clip demonstrating them on rifle. The next technique is going to be spins and stops. These teach you to stop tosses strongly as well as the many angles they can be stopped on. You'll start with 4 spins. Then, before doing a 5th spin, you'll stop the gun at this cross angle. Left hand will stop the rifle at the butt while the right will stop it at the clip of the nose. This is always where the hands will stop the gun. Then you'll bring the gun flat before flipping it up to re-grab in the neck and resume with 4 spins. Now the trick to not getting the rifle to wobble in the air here is having stiff wrists and not twisting the gun. Each position will be connected by 4 spins. The positions go from cross port, true port, port, flat, and then close out on left flat. You can do all this off the left side as well. The only difference is where your hands stop the gun. The hands will be grabbing at the same place, but the gun is flipped on this side. Also, the close will be on right flat this time as well. Next is alternates. Again, alternates are simply double time utilizing only one hand. You'll do a normal spin before flipping the gun over to the bolt and grabbing there. Then you'll flip it again and grab at a normal spin and alternate. Then you'll flip it again and grab at a normal spin and alternate between these two positions. This is what I refer to as belly top. For double time, all that is added is the left hand, which adds another belly and top between each grab of the right hand. To break it down simply, you'll do one spin and pass the gun to the left hand, thus belly, belly. Then you'll flip it over to the bolt, or top, side before passing it again to the left hand on the side as well. Top, top. Before returning back to a normal spin. Belly, belly, top, top, belly, belly, top, top, etc. To do triple time, all you do is add another belly by re-rolling the gun over the left hand when you pass it off before resuming to normal double time. Belly, 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 top, top. To complete the spins portion of the video, I'll once again briefly demonstrate single spins. The same as spins, all you do is add more height and allow for an extra rotation between each grab. Tosses on rifle are actually very easy when broken down. I'll show you first the prep I used at Madison Scouts and Paramount. From right flat, you twist the gun up and re-grab with the left hand between the bolt and the clip. Then you'll re-grab with the right hand at the butt with very minimal movement. The gun should not move. Then you'll go into your dip. For lower tosses, aka singles, doubles, triples, and or quads, you'll be at a quarter dip, which is a shoulder hip angle. You'll hold on count 4, then on 5, you'll push the gun to the upper angle, which is its release point. In order to achieve the different toss heights, the only thing you need to change is the height of the release point. For a single, you'll release at your hip. For a double, your rib cage. For a triple, your nipple. Remember, triple nipple. Now, on a quad, you can choose to stay at a quarter dip or move on to a straight up and down full dip. I was trained to do a full dip, so that's what I'll demonstrate. You'll release a quad at your mouth level. A 5 is released at your eyes, a 6 at your hairline, and 7s or higher are released above the head. For 5s and or 6s and above, you'll also extend the arm under the toss before or right when it hits the peak. Everything on gun can be translated onto saber. The main difference between rifle and saber is how the weight is distributed. On gun, the weight is in the butt, which is on the right side of the body. On saber, it is in the hilt, which is on the left. Also, a dip on saber will always be a quarter dip, no matter the height. And lastly, the release point will be flat rather than on an angle due to the weight distribution change. Also on saber, you can do blade tosses as well, which are performed almost identically to J tosses on flag. The release heights, however, for rotations you want to achieve is the exact same as rifle.